Okay, this question was quite straightforward. It was the coastal conflict question. First of all, you've got some data again to respond to a map here. Remember, this is a bird's eye view, this map. This is looking down on a coastline. Lots of you thought it was a cliff profile, and this was the sky, and this was the waves attacking it down here. It's a bird's eye view. You can tell by the north arrow and the key on here. What we've got here clearly is a discordant coastline. We've got hard rock headlands with a soft rock bay in the middle looking down from above. So the question says, suggest a landform that can be found at X. Well, what do we find at the end? We've got a headland. This could be a stack. It could be a stump. We could have a steep cliff here as the coastal erosion, the marine erosion is trying to destroy this. It leaves those very jagged features that we see at headlands. So any kind of headland-based feature you can have as X. I would go a stack, a stump, or a steep cliff would be the obvious one there to get for 1 mark. Question 2, it says explain the formation of the bay. Now remember, for a formation we've got to give reasons why, because that's the command word, or how, why or how. So let's just have a look here. Well, if we've got the waves coming in here, we've got differential erosion going on, we've got wave refraction around the headlands, okay, and we've got wave attack on the bays there. So the things I'd be looking for in here is that you've got differential erosion rates, you've got the soft rock eroding faster than the hard rock. You've also got there the fact that we've got deposition going on in the bay, so the material which is being eroded from the edges here is actually being built up in this bay, giving us the beach there. The resistance is lower, so that's cutting back faster. We've got potentially currents coming in, actually depositing that material. But the main thing to show is that the rate here is going to be much slower because it's much harder rock. You might want to put an example of some rocks, so you might have perhaps maybe a clay or a sandstone or a schist or something like that, compared to a very hard rock at the end. You might have a granite, something like that. That would get you the 3 marks. You might want to actually refer to that diagram to help you with that. The main thing to put though is that discordant coastline and differential rates of erosion. Okay, last question on this one. For a named coastline, examine the costs and benefits of hard engineering. Well, this is super simple. All you've got to say is the benefits and the problems with hard engineering, but you've got to try and name it. The one that we looked at was Holderness, okay? And the obvious place to talk about is the groin at Mappleton, and that has knock-on effects for the farms, such as Sewell's Farm, and that's at Great Cowden, and that's further south on the Holderness coast. So with these ones, it's very important that you get the case study names in and that you know where they are. So for a named coastline, explain the costs and the benefits. Well, the benefits, first of all, was that it is maintained a beach at Mappleton, thereby slowing the erosion and allowing for the development of a tourist town or development of a tourist resort, and the protection of the radial road. So we've got a road that runs along the cliff there, which has been protected as a result of building that beach and putting it in. The groin actually builds up the beach, and it protects the cliff foot. Okay, that's had the impact of causing a higher erosion rate at Sewell's Farm in Great Cowden, and we can see that the cliff dropping backwards, and so the costs there are quite substantial. It's an 8-mark question, so you need to go into detail. If I go a bit further with that, you might want to talk about the broader costs and benefits. So they're very expensive to install, particularly if they're sea walls or they're rock armours or they're big groins, big concrete groins. They last a long time. They don't require a huge amount of maintenance. But a lot of people on the downside say they're very ugly, that they don't suit the coastline, and they have heavy knock-on effects further south. So you've got to look at them in terms of a long beach profile rather than just a particular place. If you've given the example, if you've expanded on it, if you've looked at the cost and benefits of a particular scheme, you'll get all 8 marks. Most of you should have been able to go to town on that and pick up those marks. It's worth noting here that on the last question, you get an additional 3 marks for spelling and grammar. That's where we need technical vocabulary, okay? So we need particular words, things like abrasion, hydraulic action, looking at things like cost-benefit schemes, maybe looking at shoreline management plans. If you get those words in there, you get the additional 3 marks, and obviously if your spelling and punctuation is correct. So hopefully all of you could have got the 8 marks there if you knew your case study and you applied it to this question.